Hello everyone. Everything working? Can you hear me yet? Right, yeah, we're going to be talking about Garretson again tonight because he's a popular subject to talk about. And people always want to talk about him, but it really sort of goes nowhere with him outside his testimony, where he said he didn't hear anything and didn't see anything and didn't know parent and that. And other than that, there's just a load of rumours. But I was actually able to find his polygraph test, the transcript of it, so I'm going to be reading that out to you tonight. And it's quite long, so I'll be breaking several times during it. And the proper test doesn't start till right near the end. The first bit's like a warm up, so I think to make sure you watch the whole thing. But yeah, and so yeah, I'll just say hi to everyone, because it's a live stream here, and there'll be chapters in the description if you're watching this on playback and you just want to listen to the polygraph test. Yeah. Right, yeah, everyone. John, you said your mum had a incident with her pacemaker. I'm glad she's all right though. She got better from that, did she? That's okay. Yeah, the pool boy stuff. Does any of that come up? No, but no, he still just denies he knows parent. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it if I start reading out. I'll get to it pretty quickly though, so it's going to be quite long. We'll be here quite a long time. Yeah, I found it on Amazon, Kindle, believe it or not. And there's also the what do you call it? The progress report, the homicide report on Kindle as well. I didn't buy that because we've already got it, haven't we? I don't know if it's any different. So I might buy it just see it's quite cheap. Yeah, it was only about £4, I think. The polygraph test I bought and the police report's the same. And I'll link it in the description. But yeah, make sure you look at the blog if you haven't already, because I've done a few more posts now. I did a summary of the Garretson stream that we did, and I talked about the pool boy mafia and that. And I'm going to update the Stephen Parent stream as well. I'm in the progress of post on the blog. Sorry, yeah, because I'm in the progress of doing that now. Yeah, that's it. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, but of course he's going to try and protect his family. Is he? It's like, yeah, there's no proof of it because if you're a good dealer, there is no proof, is there really? So yeah, it says they won't find any proof yet. I don't think, yeah. Just because you can't prove it doesn't mean does it? Yeah. Well, yeah, sorry, just hit the chat for a minute. Right, I'll start reading this straight away because otherwise we'll be here all night. Right. That's the job of it. Kindle looks like. Right, the recorded polygraph of William Garretson, August 10th, 1969. Tape recorded polygraph examination of William Garretson, August 10th, 1969, 16:25 hours at Parker Center. Questioned by Lieutenant A.H. Burdick, Scientific Investigation Division. Transcribed by Stella Searoth, Internal Affairs Division. Assisted by Lieutenant A.H. Burdick. Asterisk indicates unintelligible. I'm just going to skip through the bits where he's just asking him his name. And yeah, he asks him his address and he gives it as Cielo Drive. Yes, that was in Beverly Hills. My address in Ohio. Do you want my address in Ohio? No, your phone number there? 274-0695-0695. Speak up a little bit. I got to... Okay. 0695? Yes. I got a bad ear. I don't hear too well out of this one. Do you have a business address or a place of employment? No, I was taking care of Mr. Outerbelly's dogs while he was in Europe. How did you come upon that job? Well, I met Mr. Outerbelly in Hollywood, and he just got back from Europe, and he let some woman stay there before that he knew for 20 years, and she partied every night and everything, and the place was torn up, and he told me if I wanted a job I could come up and clean the house, and I was going to go back to Ohio in March, and I was picked up for possession of marijuana, and it was lowered to visitation. And so, after that, I was going back to Ohio, but he was going to Europe, and he said the dogs liked me and everything, and he wanted to know if I would stay on while he went to Europe, and then he would be back, and he asked me, he'd give me an airline ticket home and everything. Who was the woman that had your job before? Edith Stolton or something like that. Stolton. Yeah, well, there's a big list, everything, it's on my door by the kitchen. There's a great big list with names on it, people I call if I need anything. Oh, people to call if you need anything. She was one you could call for information, yes. You mean they didn't part unfriendly? Well, they were, friends for 20 years or something like that. And she lived in this house you lived in. No, she lived down in Hollywood. But she had lived in this house when he went to Europe before, on Cielo before, yeah. And she partied every night, and he didn't like this. Well, that's from what I hear, The place was a mess when I got there and everything. The place was a mess. The guest house. The guest house. Yes, she was taking care of the dogs and the bird. The bird died and everything. And, he was going to put the dogs in a kennel. But he did that before, and Christopher kept breaking out, and they tried to kill him, so they had to. No, they thought they would kill him, if he put the dogs in the kennel again when he went to Europe. How many dogs? Two poodles and a Weimaraner, or whatever you call it, I guess it was. How much do you get paid to do this for him? About $35 a week. Plus room and board, yes. And they paid your food bill? No, just board. Just board. For the room, I mean. I stayed there, and well, anyway, if I needed dog food or anything, I'd just call them, and they paid for that and did my laundry. Uh-huh. Who lived there with you? Well, I asked a friend of mine that just got out of Vietnam to come and live with me. And I think it was sometime in May, late May, and he lived with me for about a month until, well, I had him thrown out, I told him to get out. This was before July. It was still late June, and I kicked him out. Why? Because, well, they had a party one time over there, and they had champagne for grown-ups. And he took a few bottles out, and I told him not to. And he went ahead and done it anyway. And I told him to get out, but he already done it when I told him not to do it. Hell, how did you know he was going to do it? Why would you warn? Couldn't you say, hey, don't take any champagne? He took it before, and I told him not to take any more, and he went ahead and took some more. There was this girl there, him and I, a girl and another girl, one of the girls I knew. They all lived out in India, and they stayed there for a while. But after I kicked him out, that's the last time I saw him. What was his name? Darrell Kistler. And what were the girls' names? Debbie Tidwell and Patty something. I'm not sure. I think it's Montgomery or something like that. And they, all four of you, lived in this guest house for a while? No. They came and visited us every once in a while. They'd stay for a night or so. But, they never lived there for any length of time. He lived there for a month with me. Then after he left, the girl stayed for a while. No, they left with him. They left with him? Well, you see, he had a car and they had a car. And when I kicked him out, well, they went back to India with him. Both of them? Yes. One didn't stay with you? Well, one was only 17. She graduated this year, and she was looking for a job in LA, and she couldn't find a job, so she went back to India. And they both from India? Yes, both girls. Yes, both the girls. Which one was your date? Debbie Tidwell. Tidwell. Yes. When was the last time you saw her? That was, well, when I kicked him out. That was the last time I saw her. How long ago was this? Well, like I say, it was the last part of June. June. It was in the last part of June. I don't remember exactly when. How old are you? 19. What's your birth date? August 24th, 1949. When were you born? Martins Ferry, Ohio. What kind of car do you have? Well, I don't have a car. I used to have a 68 Camaro when I lived in Ohio, but I sold it before I came out to California. Do you have a driver's license? Yes. California driver's license? No, it's an Ohio driver's license. You married, divorced, separated, single? Single. Children? No. How far in school did you go, Bill? I graduated in 67. High school? Yes. What's your mother's name? Mary Garretson. Mary? Yes. Your father? William Garretson. Both still living? Yes. Got any brothers or sisters? Yes. How many? One sister and one brother. Older or younger? My sister is 22 and my brother is 17. Where are they now? In Ohio, living with my mother. Your sister isn't married yet? No, she's not married. I read this a few weeks ago. It's well worth reading more than once. It's amazing how much little things you forget. Have you been living alone since Kistler left? Yes, well, see, I lived alone when Mr. Alterby left in March. And, well, Roy Plank came up to see me every once in a while. Who? Roy Plank. Plank? Yes, he's down in Camp Pendleton. He's a Marine down there. Roy Plank? Plank. Yes. He came to visit you once in a while. Yeah, he came to visit every once in a while. Okay. And the last time I heard, why he went AWOL, and they caught him in Lancaster, Ohio, and they took him back down to Pendleton, to the brig or something. Who else come up here? Roy Plank, Kistler? Yes. Tidwell? Tidwell and the other girl, Daryl's friend. There's a few people have been up there, you know. I was hitchhiking and they brought me all the way up to the house. There was one person that came in one time. He asked for a drink of water. Oh yeah, there's another girl that stayed there before me too. She's in Washington, and she had friends out in Inglewood. And this guy came up to visit one night. You know, it was in July, I think. It was the middle of the month. And he asked for a drink of water. And he came in and kept talking and talking with me. And he was Japanese, and that was when I fell with him. He asked the girl and me if we wanted to go out for dinner and everything. What branch of the service is Kistler in? The Army. And he was from Vietnam. Well, he spent 14 months in Vietnam and made sergeant. Is he out now? Yes, he's out. And who is this other one that's in the brig? Roy Plank. Plank, yes. Is he still in the service now? Yes, he's still in the service. As far as you know, where is he? In the brig, probably. Where? I don't know. He might not even be in the brig. He might be in the hospital because he had a pin in his leg from his knee to his hip from a motorcycle accident in Ohio. Have you been to a doctor for anything in the last month? No. As far as you know, how's your health? Perfect. It's an excellent condition. Did you take any medication, tranquilizers, cold tablets, or anything like this in the last day or so? Well, Thursday, the last time I had was 4 cans of beer. I had the gardener buy it for me because I'm not of age. In Ohio, you could be 18, you know, and out here you've got to be 21 to buy it. Who's the gardener? Tom and Dave, they're brothers. Tom and Dave what? I can't remember their last name. They're brothers? Yes. And they're the gardeners. How often do they come up to work? They just visit about twice a week. And when was the last time they were there? Well, last time, see, Tom came up. He brought some girl with him, you know, and that was last Thursday. And that was when I had him buy the beer. It was last Wednesday or Thursday. Did they use your pad? Yes, they did. And I drank some beer while they made out. You ever been referred to a psychiatrist? No. You've been arrested for possession? Yes. What else? Well, back in Ohio, I don't know if it would be a misdemeanor or what. It was contributing to the delinquency of a minor. That was when I just turned 18. And well, the story was, I was with this other kid, you know, I knew, and he went and bought these girls a beer, and I happened to be with him when he was in the store, so I was charged with it. How long have you been in California, Bill? I had been up there Thursday afternoon, then he came back again. How long have you been in California, Bill? He had been up there Thursday afternoon, then he came back again Thursday night. Thursday night with his girl? With his girl, yeah. Did you know they were coming? Well, you know, I don't know if I should even tell you, but he's married, you know. Uh-huh. And he brought her up there several other times, you know, on Thursday when his wife let him go out. How about his brother? Well, his brother has never been up there. He doesn't use your pad. Well, he parked on the side of the gate, and, you know, I came out and I see him parked outside the gate before with a girl or something. That's it. Why does he come up there to park? Well, he only did it a few times, about twice. Why? I don't know. It's quiet there and everything. You've seen him there? Yeah, I've seen him there once. Well, I see him there once. And he said he's been up there before, and he's also married. What kind of car does he have? A Mustang. He was in his Mustang with a girl out by the gate. Well, no, nothing. Not that night. No, but he has. That's when you saw him. Yes. He's never asked to use your pad. No, but his brother has used it. Well, he asked me if he could bring his girl up, you know, and I said yeah. And I had him buy me some beer, you know, and I just sat in the living room and drank beer and listened to the stereo. How long were they there? They were for about maybe 2 hours. Okay, now what's brought you here today? Tell me what you know. Well, I'll break for a minute there actually for a second. Right. Interesting, he mentions the name Montgomery, Patty Montgomery. Didn't Patricia Krenwinkel use Montgomery as a pseudonym at some point as well? Yeah. Sorry, just get the chat for a second. Yeah. Groovy Cops. Oh, wait, he gets really crazy in a bit. Yeah. Are you enjoying it? Yeah, it is interesting, and he does reveal some interesting stuff that they don't show. They don't talk about in court. They didn't bring up in court because it probably isn't actually relevant to the murder sort of thing. But yeah, other stuff. But yeah, that stuff about the gardeners. The gardeners were bringing their mistresses up to the house and they were using the guest house sometimes, or just parking their cars around the place to have their mistresses. That was what he was saying there, wasn't it? Basically, yeah. And also, there was a guy that was staying in the guest house. He was nicking the champagne from the party. Oh, and he thinks as well that Wojtek is Roman's younger brother for some reason. So when he says the younger Polanski, he means Wojtek. He thinks for some reason that Roman is Polanski's Wojtek's older brother, but obviously he was wrong. That's it. Yeah, Rudy had them all shirtless and oiled up. Yeah, there's loads of pictures. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'll carry on. I'll bring that out so those will be here all night. Right, okay. Now, what's brought you here today? Now tell me, what do you know, what you heard, what you believe, what has occurred, what you know, and know that what you tell me, I'm going to, in effect, determine whether or not you're truthful. Yes, with this test. Yes. I hope you're truthful with me. Yes. Tell me everything you can think of, even something like this bit here. Well, one guy's married and he brings his girlfriend up to your pad. It may not fit in. I don't know. What I'm saying is tell me and don't hold things back like that because they're going to bother you. And then we're going to have to dig them out. Yes. You know what I mean? They're just going to create some problems. And I can say that when they create problems, it makes my job difficult. And I like to work less as little as possible. So if you tell me a truthful story now, then this is going to show that you're truthful. And that's about the end of it. But if you hold things back, then it's going to make my job more difficult. So tell me what you know, what you've heard, and what you suspect what's happened. You mean what happened the night of all of it, from the beginning to end, as best you know? Okay, I stayed at home, you see, the whole day. I can't hear you. I stayed at home the whole day. That whole day, that was Friday. I stayed home. Okay, this is Sunday. You're speaking of last Friday, yes. Okay, you stayed around the house all Friday. This is after what? Dave and his girlfriend had spent the night, part of the night. They didn't spend the night, they spent 2 hours there, Thursday night. What time did they leave? About 12:30, 1 o'clock. Early Friday morning they left. Yes. Okay, go on. Then, well, anyway, I got sick that night, Thursday, because I was drinking that beer and I got really sick. Mr. Outerbelly called Thursday night, And so I stayed home all day Friday and I cleaned up the house a little bit and did the dishes and everything. And they came around 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there. And I went to go get something to eat and I went down on the strip. I had something down there and I could see her light all the way down from Cielo. Not Cielo, but Benedict Canyon, all the way down the strip. Then I went to Turner's drugstore. I got a TV dinner and a Coke and a pack of cigarettes. And I don't know if I got any gum or not. I know I got that. And I stayed on the strip, I just walked. Well, before I got that, I walked down, walked down once and walked back up, and usually the same thing. Nothing was the same. So I got that stuff, then I hitchhiked back up. I hitchhiked back up all the way to Benedict Canyon from Sunset, and then I stayed on Benedict Canyon. I hitchhiked up to Cielo, and then I walked, I had to walk all the way up to Cielo to Bella to get my place up the hill. And then I just went there, and I think maybe 10 o'clock I got there, maybe later, I don't know. I wasn't paying too much attention about it. It was around probably more than likely about 10 o'clock, and I watched some TV, not very much. And I watched some show about some woman and some lover. I wasn't paying much attention to it. And I put the TV dinner in the oven, and then while, that was cooking, I was eating some potato chips and drinking all that pop. I was watching TV a little bit, and about 11:45 or something like that, Steve came up, and he brought his radio with him. He had a radio, clock radio, and I didn't expect him or anything. And he came up and asked me how I've been and everything, and I told him all right. And he asked me if I'd been living by myself and everything, and I said yeah. And he asked me who the two girls were inside the main house, and I told him, that was Mrs. Polanski and Abigail Folger. And he went into a big thing, who are they and all that bit. And I had to explain to him, and so he called somebody. I gave him a beer, a can of Budweiser. I asked him if he wanted a beer, and he drank it. And then he called somebody in Santa Monica and Doheny. And he said that he would be going there, and so then he left. And, that's when after I ate my TV dinner afterwards and everything, after he was gone, and that's the last time I saw him. Huh? That's the last time I saw him until they came and got me. The last time you what? Saw Steve? Steve? Yes. Until when? Until that morning, the next day, about 11 o'clock. Go on. And that was it. Well, I just stayed inside the house and everything, and I was kind of scared that night. I don't know why, I was kind of scared. And I stayed in the house and everything, and I started to write letters, I started to write some letters to Darren Kistler and ask him what he was going to come down, when he was going to come down and visit me and everything. And I tried to call. I wanted to know what time it was because, I had quite, Christopher had barked that night and everything else. And I wanted to know what time it was. And just before, it got to daylight, I called the time. And then, I found out the phone was dead. And then I went to the room and got another phone. And I plugged it into the wall. And then, and there was nothing. And so then I really got kind of worried then, what happened. I wasn't giving it too much thought. It wasn't daylight yet because, it was still dark. It was just beginning to get daylight. And I got kind of, I got really kind of scared then. And then I stayed up until it did get daylight. And I went to sleep. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and there was a police officer pointing a gun at me. What? Another officer came in with a rifle and he had it pointed at me. And one of them kicked in the door. And that's when Christopher started barking and everything. And they grabbed me and took me out, by the patio and took me down against the wall and handcuffed me. And that was when I kept asking them what was the matter. And they said they'd show me. And that's when, we crossed the front yard and I seen the bodies. You saw what? These bodies. What did you see? Well, first I thought it was the maid. I thought the first body I seen was the maid. Now I've seen everything. And then, they kept walking and had their arms, taking me along. And I seen the other one. And I got to the car, and that was when I seen it was Steve's car. And they found him in his car. You saw Steve's car? Yes. And his body was in it. His what? His body was in it. You saw that? Yes. And it was Steve. I don't know. I really didn't see it that clearly. I didn't take that good a look. I just seen the body. You saw a body in it. It could be anybody. Yes. It was Steve's car. You know this. Yes. It was Steve's car. It's really frightening. Frightening? Yes. Now, what do you know from what you've heard? What you've been told has occurred there? Well, they threw some parties there before, they threw a large party one time. There's Abigail Folger and young Polanski, and they had quite a few people there. There was cars parked all the way down Bella, and they had a band there, and they had 10 cases of champagne, and they had beer, and they had about three parking lot attendants, parking cars, and then about, I don't know how many people serving drinks and everything, because that's the only, great big party they've had. They had while Mrs. Polanski and Mr. Polanski were in Europe. And then when they got back, when Mrs. Polanski got back, I seen, maybe one time there was probably about 10 cars there, a real small party they had. And that's as far as I know, there was parties going on there, and that was it. Then that night, they didn't have any party or anything, not that I know of. Did they invite you to the parties? None. Why not? I don't know. Well, actually, they don't know me or anything. I don't see why they would. Did you talk to them during the daytime when they were sitting around the pool, or did you go around the pool and swim when they were there? I swim there a few times when they were there, but not very often. Talked with them? Friendly? Yes, but not very often. I very seldom ever spoke to them. Now and again. What has happened? What did happen when Steve left? That was it. That's all I know. As far as you know, now, what has happened? Yes, when he left, that was it. Well, you saw 3 bodies? Yes. Is that it? Yes. There are no more involved. That was it as far as well, then I heard later on. That's what I want to know. Yeah, I heard from my attorney there was 2 bodies hanging in the room or something. I don't know. That was what he said. He said he shouldn't even be telling me, but he told me or something. That makes 5. That's what I heard from a detective down there. There was 5 bodies slain or something. How were they killed? I don't know. Well, I heard Steve was shot. Where you live? Yes. Your front door. How many doors to enter that place? 4? 4? There's 4. There's a back door, and there's a door where the dog's room is, and there's a door in the backyard in the back, and then there's a door where they came in. During this, after Steve left, Christopher barks. Well, he barked when Steve was there too. But does he usually bark? Not unless somebody's around. Around where? Around the house or something. Okay, so Steve was there, and Christopher was nervous and barking. Is that it? Would he bark then? And Steve says, "What's the matter with Christopher?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. He usually barks." Okay, did he bark when Steve arrived? Yes. Did you know that that somebody was coming before Steve walked in and knocked on the door? Yes. Because Christopher was barking? Yes. And then when Steve was in the house, Christopher was barking some more? Some more? Yes. Then when he left, that was it. Then later on, he started barking at something. Now, what about the door handle? What do you mean? Well, I was writing letters on the couch, and Christopher started barking. I didn't pay any attention. And then I looked up, and the doorknob was turned. What do you mean? Well, it's one of those, you have to see it. It sticks out like this. It was one of these kind of, the outside is a regular doorknob, yes. And on the inside, it's like a stick or something. It's a handle, yes. But it's a square bar handle. Yeah, a bar handle. Okay, what about it? It was turned, down. What does that mean? I don't know what it meant, It wasn't like that before, as far as I know. I mean, Christopher was barking and everything, and I looked up and nothing is there, and the door handle is turned. Did it move while you were looking at it, or just in a different position? It was just in a different position. Is that the unlocked position down? No, well, I had the doors locked. Is it that slide bolt or something that locks the door beside this door handle? No, see, there's a lock that you turn, and it locks the door, and that's it. Well, tell me what that means to you when you look and saw the door handle was down. It just kind of frightened me a little bit. That was it. Well, what position is the door handle normally in? Well, it's usually straight across. Okay, is this the door Steve left out of? Yes. And did you close the door when he left? When he left, yes. You closed it and locked it. I locked it, yes. You don't remember. You don't remember messing with the door handle. Or was it in the horizontal position then, or what? I don't actually remember. So it could have been down when Steve left. Yes, but I shut the door and then I locked it. I don't know if I shut it or not, but I know I locked the door. All right, when Steve leaves, what do? Do you walk out to the car with him to say goodnight? No, why not? I never do when somebody leaves, it comes around. Walk out of the house with them. You left. Right, left him at the front door, yes. Did he say anything that he was going to stop by and talk to the people at the house? No, he didn't say anything like that. But he did ask you questions about them. Yes, he asked me questions about them. All right. Steve's aware there's people in the house. Yes. He asked you who are the two ladies. How does he know there's two ladies in the house? He saw them when he came in. How does he see them? I haven't been there. You tell me how he sees them. Well, I don't know how he sees them. I mean, you walk down the path when you come back to the guest house. You don't go across the front yard or anything. And he said there was two ladies over there in the main house. There was a great big window. You could probably see them through that. Uh-huh. That's probably how he saw them. When you were there, you came back with your TV dinner. Did you see them there? No. What did you see? I didn't see anything. I just seen the cars there around Stephen. There were cars there, yes. What did you hear? I didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything? Yes, but Steve did. Well, you seen the two girls and he asked me who they were. Did you know they were there? Did you know they were there? Well, they were always, usually at night. But you didn't see them when you came back. Why not? Well, I don't make a habit looking in the window or anything. Well, you don't deliberately turn the other way, do you? Well, I just walked down the path. All right, in that time, you've been there. The time that Tate or Polanski, or whatever name she goes by, has been back from Europe, yes. And you've been walking by this house every time you go out, yes. What? Well, sometimes I can look in that direction. They might be in the front room, It's hard to say, but I didn't see them that night. What have you seen in that house ever? More particularly since she's back from Europe, that is unusual, unique, different, or has attracted your attention? Well, the Porsche, that black Porsche is usually parked there. That was about it. Who owns the black Porsche? I don't have the slightest idea who owns the black Porsche. Was it there last night? What do you mean last night? Well, I don't know. You said the black Porsche is unusual. What do you mean by that? Well, it's usually almost every night, but not every night. I wouldn't say every night, but it was up there quite a bit. Was it there last night? Was it there Friday night when you went to Sunset and got your... Well, when I left, I don't know whether it was there or not. And when I came back, I think it might have been there. I don't know. I don't pay that close attention. Did Steve ask you about the cars? No, he didn't ask me. What cars did you see parked there when you came back Friday? I know I've seen a Camaro that was in the garage, and then when I seen a Firebird, I can't remember if I seen a Porsche or not, but I think it might have been there. Well, where did all these people come from? Steve knew there were two women there. Yes. You say you didn't see anybody, and yet we know now there was at least 5, right? Yes. Well, where did they all come from? Well, there's 2 that live there, the 2 girls. There's Mrs. Polanski and Abigail, who, they live there. And the younger Polanski, he lives there. It's, that automatic 3 that lives there. And the one that came up, in his Porsche, he must have been just visiting or something. But I don't remember if the Porsche was there when it came out. It might have been. I might have seen it. I don't know. Go on. And then anyway, the ones in the house and everything. Then Steve came, later on, and he asked me who the two girls were in the house. He must have looked in the window and been walking down the path because, see if anybody was there. What did he say about them, other than who are the two broads? Did he say something? He says, who are they? And then, he wanted me to get in a big deal who they were. And I told him one was Polanski's, the younger Polanski's girlfriend, and the other one, was Polanski's wife. And then it just got all mixed up and everything. And he wanted, he says, Polanski has a girlfriend and a wife. I say, no, the younger Polanski has a girlfriend, and the other one's the older Polanski's wife. And everything, finally, I got it straight to him. Did he say anything about you? Had good-looking chicks, or, yeah, I said they're good. What else did he say to indicate what he saw? That was it. Did he ask who the fellows were? No, he didn't ask me who they were. Talk about them? No, he didn't talk about them. When it got daylight and you went outside? No. You stayed inside? Yes. When it got daylight, you went to sleep? Yes. Why? I don't know. I just wanted to. All night you were worried, and it becomes daylight, and all you do is go to sleep. You don't go out there and see if there's anything that caused trouble or anything like that, like turn the doorknob or anything like this. You just go to sleep. Yes, I didn't go outside. Why not? Well, I would have probably went out later on at noon when I usually wake up. I usually wake up around 1 o'clock or 1:30 and go and see if my mail's there. Christopher let you know the police were coming? Yes. He started barking? Yes, so I got up. How did you rip your breeches? I ripped them when they handcuffed me. How did you rip them? That's it. Well, they took me out out of the house, and they took me onto the patio, and they handcuffed me, put my hands behind my back and handcuffed me. And I kept asking them what was the matter. And they said, we'll show you. And I thought something was really wrong when they said that. Okay, other than a black Porsche being around, that's what you think is unusual. And I don't know why you think that's unusual. Well, he's usually there, and I don't know why you said that, anything unusual. I said it's usually there every night. I don't know if he'd say it's unusual or not. But what else? When they're having these parties, do you stand up on the porch or window and look down at the party, at the pool or whatever? No, you can't. It's level with it. It's on the foundation and everything. What have you seen going on there that is different? I never seen, that night, any time. Oh, maybe one time I seen that, I don't know. I was asleep and I woke up, and that was when Darryl was living there. And these two girls were staying that night. And they were over in the swimming pool. And I went over there, and they said they'd seen Pulp. Sharon wasn't there yet, I don't think, on mescaline. But someone was on mescaline or something. I didn't hear you. Someone was on mescaline or something that lived in the main house. That was what they told me. How would they know this? They said they told them. They told them? What do you mean? They told them they were on mescaline or something. Someone that was in the main house told the two girls that were visiting me that. Yeah, they said they were on mescaline or something. I don't know. What did this mean to you? Nothing. That's not that unusual that if you, I guess, I don't know. I've never taken mescaline or anything. Have you ever used marijuana? Have I? Yes. Yes. What else have you used? Before this, I had LSD before. What else? It is, I don't know what they call it, speed. I've had that before. What's the last thing you used? Well, just the 4 cans of beer, and the gardener brought up some, stuff, Is this going to be held against me or anything? Well, Thursday night, the gardener brought up some marijuana, and I drank 4 cans of beer and smoked 2 marijuana cigarettes, and had 1 dextrin or something. It's from, the pharmacy or something. I don't know. I took that, I got real sick, and I said that's the last for me, marijuana. You and Steve burned some pot? Right, and I'm going to break there for a second because it goes crazy in a second. So, yeah, I have to say, listening to him talk here, the way he said that at the beginning about the party, when the guy was stealing the champagne, and he said the champagne was for the grown-ups. And I told him not to do it, but he went and stole more. I have trouble believing that Garretson was some kind of hardcore criminal that was into the pool boy mafia. But Stephen Parent's behaviour sounds to me like he was casing the place, and we know that he had been done for burglary before. And that's why he's asking who the women in the house are, and if Garretson was on his own. So I think he was maybe up there to case the place, possibly thinking about burglaring it. Did he know about the stereo system that was in there, maybe? Who knows? Yeah. Oh, the asterisks mean it's unintelligible. Yeah, it says there's a key at the beginning. It says, yeah. I mean, so they couldn't hear what he said. Yeah, the asterisks are just unintelligible. And I'm just leaving a silence whenever I hit one of them. Yeah. Hmm. So just having a look at that. Yeah, and he mentioned someone being on mescaline, doesn't he? But that was months before, because that was when the girls were still visiting and they went back to Ohio. So that was back in July. So yeah, they took a lot of mescaline up there. What does that mean? Yeah, and by the younger Polanski, he means Frykowski. Yeah, it's because he thinks that for some reason he thinks Frykowski is Raymond's younger brother. So he calls him the younger Polanski. He doesn't realise they aren't related. Just thinks because they're both Polish, they must be related. Yeah. Sorry, just look at the chat a sec, and then we'll get on with it. Yeah, the younger Polanski. Yeah, by the younger Polanski, I just explained that, didn't I? He means Raymond. Yeah, he means Frykowski. He thinks he's Raymond's younger brother for some reason. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, so he was accused. He was dragged over to the bodies and everything, wasn't he? Yeah, it's a unique situation with him. He was really accused of the murders. Yeah, they held him for quite a while, 2 days. He was the initial. Yeah, yeah. The name Montgomery. Yeah, I'm sure that was a name Patricia Krenwinkel used. Could just be a coincidence. Yeah, but it's weird. Yeah. Yeah, it was Thursday night, but he's talking about the gardeners at the guest house on Thursday night, and he's nothing to do with the main house. What he mentions about Thursday night. He's talking about the gardener bringing a girl round on the Thursday night. Right, I'll carry on reading it. Just going to keep taking drinks because it'll take a while to get through it. Yeah, it gets a bit crazy in it. You and Steve blow some pot? No? Huh? No. Were you high when Steve was there? No. Was Steve high? Well, the beer I gave him. That's it. He said that hit him. Are you gay? No. Huh? No. Never had sex with Steve? No. Never had sex with a man? Yes. Who? Well, when I first came out here, I was in the big city and everything, and well, some guy named Rice or something like that. I don't know if he did or not. I was asleep when it happened, but the kid that I came out here with said that, he did whatever he did. What's he supposed to have done? Well, what they usually do. Well, they do lots of things. Well, that's what he said. He screwed you in the butt? No. Made you suck him? No. He sucked you? Yes. And he gave you a head job? Yes, he said that. That's what he said. But you don't know this. I don't know. He showed us a movie and we rolled over and went to sleep. And there was a lot of people that crashed it and everything. And I thought it was a regular place where people slept that was in Hollywood. He was supposed to have given you a head job. Yes. And you're supposed to sleep through this. Well, I was asleep. Well, I didn't know it. Just a couple of days later, that's what I heard. You think somebody could give you a head job and you'd sleep through it? Probably. You think so? Yes. I find it hard to believe. Well, I was up for 2 nights. That's when I first came out there. Okay, unless you're high or on downers or something like this. No, I wasn't on downers. That was when I first came out here. We hitchhiked all the way from across Ohio. Uh-huh. And when I was up for a few nights, and I met this one kid, he was about 26 or 27, and he said, well, I asked where I was going and told him I was going to some movie. And he wanted, he says, do you care if I come along? And I says, I don't care. Anyway, he delayed it. And I just, I say as well, why don't you buy some beer, and we play Monopoly or something? Play Monopoly? And we did, and we played Monopoly and stuff. But I never had sex with him or anything. But I figured he might be gay. But I don't know, because how they get around. He asked me if I ever had sex with anybody, men. And I told him no. I just told him maybe one time before. Well, you're at this residence, where you're living now, yes. At any time when you're on the grounds there in the main house, or any other than what you have told me, have you seen any sex? Have I seen any sex? Uh-huh. You mean in the main house? Yes. No. Anything at all? Nothing. Did you ever see Polanski or Folger girls nude in the swimming pool? I've seen one girl nude in the swimming pool one time, but it wasn't Mrs. Polanski, or it wasn't Abigail. Who was it? I don't know. Was she visiting you? No. Who was she visiting? It was one of their friends. That was when Mrs. Polanski and Mr. Polanski, they were in Europe. It was one of their friends, the younger Polanski, and they were taking movies while she was swimming nude. They were taking movies. Yes, but that was in March or somewhere around there. Did they let you come up and watch? No, no, no. One time I just brought my laundry back, sheets and stuff I had done. Yeah. And I walked by and, I seen her out by the pool and they were taking pictures, She was swimming nude and they put a towel around her and everything. Was this a professional setup or just a home movie? No, it was just a home movie camera. Who was taking the pictures? The younger Polanski, I think. Who was with him? That was quite a while ago. I don't think I can remember. You can remember how many people were there? There might have been about 4 or 5, one girl, and all the rest were males. No, no, no. Abigail Folger was there, I think, and the other girl swimming in the nude. There might have been 3 girls and 2 boys, I don't know. There might have been 3 boys and 2 girls. Describe the guy that drives the Porsche. I never really seen him. Tell me what you have seen. I don't know. I don't know if he's tall or not. I think I might have seen him once. I don't know, but I never really seen him up close. Does he look gay? I don't know. I've never talked to him or anything. Well, is he little, short, fat man? Or is he a fancy dresser? That type of thing? I never, Would you know him if you saw him? I would know him if I saw him. Would I know him if I saw him? I don't know. There's been so many people that's, been up there. But I don't know if I ever saw him or not, really. I think he had black hair, maybe. I know he had dark hair, and he had dark hair. I would say he was about, I don't know, I couldn't say whether he was tall or not. What do you think happened to Steve? To Steve? To Steve? Well, I heard he got shot. Why? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I didn't hear any shots. Would you tell me if you had? Yes. Why? Would I tell you if I heard any shots? Because I would just tell you if I heard any shots. You're out there and you're nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof in that house, and you don't hear anything other than a dog bark. I have been there. I have been that way several times. I mean, not only that night, I've been scared other nights too. Why? Well, way back in March or something, I heard the poodle run around and there was somebody back there trampling around. Did you go out and investigate? No. Didn't you look at the window to see if you could see what was going on? Yeah, I can't see anything out there. My porch light wasn't working or anything. Did you fix it? Yes. Does it work now? Yes. When you were nervous Friday, didn't you look out? I looked out once. What did you see? Nothing. The lights on. House dark. I didn't look out. I didn't look out by the main house. I looked down by the bathroom window, right where the patio is in the guest house. This was when Christopher was making all the noise. Yes. And what did you see? Nothing. That was after Steve had left. It was about 2 or 3 hours after he left. Somewhere around there. And that's when I looked into the yard. I didn't look into the backyard. There's a cement platform when you walk into the guest house. You looked out there. Yes. That's the only place you looked out. No, I could have looked out if I wanted to. I could look out by the main house. Why didn't you? I don't know. Maybe you did? I went back up there in the little room and the thing was unbolted and I bolted it up, but I didn't look out the window. What was unbolted? Well, it was the shutters. It was unbolted and the screen was pried before. I don't know how it got there. It must have happened quite a while because the screen it hooked up then. Wasn't it already hooked up? No, it was unlatched. Is it usually unlatched? The last I remember it was latched. Who unlatched it? I don't know. The thing was bent. Bent, yes. What do you mean? The hook. But it latched okay. Yeah, we'll see, it was bent like it's a real little hook. It's bent a little bit. Do you mind if I have a cigarette or anything? I'd rather you didn't. Okay. Let me read the questions to you, Bill. We're going to start with, right, and so this is where they're going to get to the actual polygraph test, so I'll break again for a second. Right. So yes, we said something there, about seeing a woman swimming nude in the pool while Sharon and Roman are away. Bukowski and Folger are filming it. So yeah, that's the thing. And he asked him all that about is he gay. And he talks about that gay experience. Well, is someone supposed to have given him a blowjob while he was asleep and he doesn't know if he did it or not? Yeah, so yeah, that sounds a bit, like he's trying to play down something, doesn't it? But yeah. Yeah. So we should hit the chat for a sec. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the party, the June party, is that the one? Yeah, where there was all the champagne. Or is that? I think that's no. Roman was at the one where Pick Dawson and Billy Dog got thrown out, wasn't he? That was so. That must have been earlier. Yeah, it's confusing. Which parties are they talking about? He means Frykowski. For some reason, he thought Frykowski was Roman's younger brother, so he calls him the younger Polanski. Yeah, but no, he means Wojtek when he says the younger Polanski. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, they're trying to stress him out, aren't they? Yeah. He gets really harsh with him in a minute as well. Yeah, this is where the test begins in earnest. Yeah, and they're about to start asking him the questions. Yeah, March the 15th party was when the Canadians were kicked out. Yeah. So that because the one that he's talking about where the guy nicked the champagne, Roman and Sharon weren't there. So is that the one where the doiling happened? One assumes so. I don't know. Who knows? Right, I'll get on with reading it because this is going to get really long otherwise. Let me read the questions to you, Bill. We're going to start with, I want you to concern yourself with these questions for the time being. We'll probably change them later on, but right now, just concern yourself with these questions. I'm going to ask you primarily about Steve, I think. Of course, he was the one that was visiting you, yes. And he was the one that you did talk to that night, yes. Where did he live? You said he lived out by Pomona. Pomona, yes. All right, so I'm going to primarily be concerned with the line of these. The questions will concern Steve. I'll ask you regarding Steve's death. Do you intend to answer each question truthfully? Yes. I'll ask you concerning Steve. Did you cause his death? Do you know what I mean by that? Did I cause his death? No, I didn't cause his death. No. Okay, I'll ask you. Are you the one that caused Steve's death? No. I'll ask you. Is your first name William? Is your true last name Garretson? Yes. I'll ask. Between the ages of 15 and 17? No. Between the ages of 15? No. Let me finish the question. Between the ages of 15 and 17, do you remember using narcotics? No, I don't remember using narcotics. Right now? During the last 15 years of your life, do you remember using narcotics? No. Is there some other questions you're afraid I'm going to ask you? No. Oh, I don't know. Here's the thing. I think I don't know now whether you've looked at the situation that occurred the other night or not. I'm sure it's gone over in your mind several times, just from what you've told me. Either you're involved in this by being an active participant, or you're an extremely fortunate person. I know, that's what I keep thinking about why I wasn't murdered. I don't know. Let's review the questions again. I'm going to ask you in this order and answer these yes or no, if you can. This is the way I want you to answer during the examination. I'll ask you for your first name. Is William? Yes. Is your true last name Garretson? Yes. Regarding Steve's death, do you intend to answer each question truthfully? Yes. I'll ask you, is there some other question you're afraid I will ask you? I don't know. Is there something right now that's on your mind that you don't want to disclose? All I can say is I was really afraid that night. You're not afraid of my asking you if you were frightened, are you? No. That isn't what you're concerned with. No. All right, I'm going to ask you, between the ages of 15 and 17, do you remember using narcotics? No, I don't. Concerning Steve, did you cause his death? No. During the first 15 years of your life, do you remember using narcotics? During the first 15 years of your life, do you remember using narcotics? No, I never used narcotics. Just yes or no. Can you answer it yes or no? No. Okay, are you the one who caused Steve's death? No. Did you shoot him? No. You heard he was shot? I heard, yeah. You heard he was shot. Is that true? Yes. Did you shoot him? No. Did you see him shot? No. Did you know he was shot before the police took you there? No. Huh? You mean you didn't know he was shot? No, I didn't know he was shot. No. I don't know. Maybe you went outside and you saw this happen and you ran back in and bolted the door and covered your head with a pillow. I never heard the shots. Did you cause his death? No. Okay, is there some other question I failed to ask you? That question will be asked twice. Do you understand the questions? Yes. Do you think you can answer them as simple yes or no answers? Yes. You don't have to say yes, sir, no, sir, or I think so, sir, or maybe. You just answer yes or no. Just yes or no. Okay, now this instrument is going to record. It goes on the side of your body. When I'm asking you these questions, if you're lying to me, I'm not. If you're holding something back, I'm going to find out. Yes. If you're telling the truth, this is going to say you're telling the truth. Yes. I don't know if you're telling me the truth or not. You know, don't you? Yeah. You know whether or not you're truthful? It just seems to shake me up a little bit, even, I would imagine it would shake you up, but that doesn't mean you're lying. No, I'm just confused. Why are you confused? For one thing, how come I wasn't murdered? I don't know. I mean, if somebody could have easily done that to these people, I don't know why they didn't do it to me. Lean forward and raise your arms. Lean forward, raise your arms. That's it. Raise them up. This is attached to record your breathing. One of the things that's changed is if a person lies in breathing. Do it again. Raise them up. Sit down and relax. Scoot back in the chair. Sit up straight. Come on, scoot your fanny back in the chair. That's it. The next attachment is the same thing a doctor uses to take your blood pressure. I got a scrape here. Yeah, you could use a bandage on that. How did that happen? When the policeman took me out. Did you fight them? No. Huh? No. Heart's beating pretty fast, innit? You gonna lie on me? No. Okay, this will tell me what your heart's doing. The next and last attachment goes on your fingers, Bill. This records the skin responses, the skin reactions. There's no shocks. There's no needles. All you're gonna feel is the blood pressure cap on your arm. Okay, put your hand down. Sitting as you are now, feet flat on the floor. Look straight at the wall in front of you. I'm going to turn this on. I'm not going to ask you any questions right now. Turn it on and explain what you want, what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to have to change the paper here. Sit still. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'll say before we start these questions that I read to you. I'm going to explain what we're going to do. Now, each time before I ask you any questions, Bill, I'm putting the pressure on your left arm like this. Relax. Feel that pressure. Okay, now this is the way it's going to feel to you when I'm asking you a question. As long as that pressure is on your arm, as it is now, I'll be asking you questions. And as long as that pressure is on your arm now, sit comfortable, sit quiet, look straight ahead at the wall in front of you. When I ask you a question, answer the best you can with a yes or no answer. Don't say yes, sir, no, sir, or I think so, or maybe. Just simple yes, no answers when you answer. Don't shake your head, don't wave your arms, don't shuffle your feet. Just sit comfortable, sit quiet, and say yes or no. Now, when we have gone through those questions, I read to you, then I'll release the pressure off your arm like this. Now the pressure is off your arm. You want to scratch your nose? You want to talk? You want to explain something? This is the time for conversation. Do you understand? Yes. Okay, I'm going to put the pressure on your arm now, and we're going to go through these questions that I'll read to you. Sit comfortable, sit quiet, sit straight ahead. Okay, Bill, we're ready to begin. William Garretson, Polygraph Examination, questioned by Lieutenant A.H. Burdick at Parker Center on August 10th, 1969. Is that your first name, William? Yes. Is your true last name Garretson? Yes. Regarding Steve's death, do you intend to answer each question about that truthfully? Yes. Is there some other questions you're afraid I'll ask you? Kind of. Just relax. Between the ages of 15 and 17, do you remember using narcotics? No. Concerning Steve, did you cause his death? No. Look straight ahead. Are you the one that caused Steve's death? No. Is there some other question you're afraid I will ask you? No. Okay, relax. You understand the questions? Yes. Do you feel responsible for Steve's death? That he even knew me? Yes. Huh? That he even knew me? I mean, he wouldn't have come up that night and nothing would have happened, in other words, to him. And he surprised you. Well, he did surprise me that he came. Just that, he came up to visit me. And when he left, that's horrible. I'm going to change those questions to ask you instead of, did you cause his death? I'm going to say, did you shoot Steve? I'm going to ask you instead, are you the one that caused Steve's death? I'm going to ask you, are you the one that shot Steve? Do you understand those questions? Okay, all the other questions will be the same. What is it that you're worried about? I'll ask you a question about, incidentally. I don't know. When I was going back to the cell, a policeman said there's the guy that killed these people and everything, It seems like everybody doesn't believe it. Does not believe it. Does believe it. I don't know why. Does believe what? Well, the policeman, the way he talked to my attorney. The policeman said there's the guy that did it and pointed to you. Yeah, down there. I don't know. It just kind of upset me. All right, let's go through those questions again. I just wonder if there's anything besides a lie detector test. Maybe a truth serum or a different kind, Why? Hypnotize me or anything? Why? I don't know. It just seems like it would be better than this. Why? I don't know why. I never before this. Okay, same questions. Ready to begin. Is your first name William? Yes. Is your last name Garretson? Yes. Regarding Steve's death, do you intend to answer each question about that truthfully? Yes. Hold still. Between the ages of 15 and 12, do you remember using narcotics? No. Did you shoot Steve? No. During the first 15 years of your life, do you remember using narcotics? No. Are you the one who shot Steve? No. Is there some other question you're afraid I'm going to ask you? No. Well, do you know the particulars inside the house as they existed? That morning, the police arrested you. The what? What do you know of any particulars? Particulars? I don't know. You said something about a rope, You were told this or told something about this. Well, the attorney told me that, they were hanging or something, with a white sheet over them or something, in the house. And then he said he shouldn't tell me. I don't know about that. And he told me about that. What else did he tell you he shouldn't have told you? That was that. Nothing else. Nothing else. Did you know when you were told Steve was shot? How about any of the others? Nothing. Do you know from what you saw? Could you tell? No, I couldn't tell. Well, it looked like, the one thing that did puzzle me, it looked like the woman that was out in the yard, looked like the maid when I walked by. And then I seen the maid at the gate and they told me it was Mrs. Polanski. That's the only thing. It puzzled you. You thought that was the maid on there. I thought it was the maid. Then I seen the maid. Later on, you knew it wasn't the maid. Yeah, I knew it wasn't the maid. Now you know who it was. Oh, yeah, they said it was Mrs. Polanski. Where was this? Who did they identify to you as Mrs. Polanski? The person out in the yard. In the yard? Yes. Listen to these questions. I'm going to ask you about Mrs. Polanski. What caused her death? Do you know? No. Now listen to the questions and say only yes or no or nothing at all. If you can't answer it, don't say anything. Yes, just say yes or no. If you can't answer, don't say anything. Right, I'm going to ask you each time. If you know Mrs. Polanski was this, or this, what caused her death? Ready to begin. Do you know if Mrs. Polanski was strangled? No. Do you know if Mrs. Polanski was beaten with a rock? No. Do you know if Mrs. Polanski was stabbed? I asked. I think I knew. I'm not sure. But I heard they were stabbed before. You're not sure. I think they were stabbed because they mentioned it. Who mentioned it? I think the lawyer might have mentioned it to me, that they were stabbed. I don't know. I don't know for sure. When I see him lying on the ground, I don't know. My eyes looked away and I stopped and I don't know whether they were stabbed or not. I don't know. Now, all this happened, what would you say? Friday morning, Saturday morning? What does it mean to you? What day was it? Well, it would have had to happen in the morning, maybe. I don't know. It was after Steve left, after 12. Which morning? Saturday. Steve was there Friday night, and it was partly Saturday morning because he left after 12. The police arrested you Saturday, yesterday, about 11 o'clock. It was around there. How many times have you been in that big house, the main house? I think about twice. When was the last time? That's when they asked me over one time, Abigail and the young Polanski. They asked me up. Abigail called me up and asked me if I didn't have to go to court the next day for a possession of marijuana charge, which they lowered to visitation. They wanted to talk to me, and that was the last time I was there. They wanted to talk to you, yes. About what? About going to court. And what did they tell you? Well, it seemed like they were really concerned, because Mr. Altobelli left and he left with Mrs. Polanski. And she seemed a little bit concerned, that what was going to happen. If I was going to get, a probation or whatever. We discussed it. That was the last time I was there. Did they offer you any narcotics? No. Did they ask you whether you could get some information for them, or you could get some for them? They offered me a beer when I was there. Offered you a beer? Yeah, or a glass of milk. That was how long ago? Let's see, that was in mid-March. Listen to these questions and say as we've been doing, they are simply yes or no. If I ask you questions you don't know, or you don't know how to answer, you want to explain before you answer, ignore it and I'll let go. Wait a few seconds and I'll go on and ask the next question. You understand? Do you understand? Yes. Okay, fine, all right. I'm ready to begin. Is your name William? Yes. Is your middle name Eston? Yes. Do you know who caused Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Were you born in Ohio? Yes. Did you cause Mrs. Polanski's death? No. My arm is falling asleep. Well, that shouldn't happen. Right here at my hand. We're not cutting off the blood. We're merely restricting it slightly so we can pick up your blood pulse pattern here. You're going to feel some sensation there. Yeah. So just ignore it. Okay. And it's only there for a matter of 2 minutes, okay? Okay, let's go through these questions again. We'll start back at the beginning. Sit quiet, look straight ahead. Okay, ready to begin. Is your first name William? Yes. Is your middle name Eston? Yes. Do you know who caused Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Were you born in Ohio? Yes. Did you cause Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Were you born in 1949? Yes. Were you in the main house yesterday? No. Are you 19 years old? Yes. Do you know anyone by the name of Dorman? Pardon? Look straight ahead. Do you know anyone by the name of Dorman? No. Do you know anyone by the name of Dawson? No. Do you know anyone by the name of Darby? No. After Steve left, did you go outside your apartment? No. Have you ever stolen anything and not been caught? What do you mean? Never mind, just look straight ahead. Have you ever smoked marijuana? Yes. Have you recently smoked marijuana? Recently? Recently. I mean, how recently that I haven't? Have you ever used LSD? Yes. Have you ever sold narcotics? No. Have you ever had sex with a man? Yes. Recently would be what? Thursday. Since. The last time. Did you get high Friday and with Steve? No. Steve have anything besides beer before he left? That's it, just one can. And have you ever stolen anything and not been caught? What do you... I have before, but that was a long, long time ago. Do you consider yourself a thief? No. Is it true you kicked Kessler out because he was stealing? How many bottles did he take? Well, I think there was about 6 that were taken. How many of them did you take? None. Have you understood all the questions? Yes. Any of them need explaining? No. You mean you can answer them now, yes or no? Yes. Okay. When I say, have you ever smoked marijuana recently, I think Thursday would be considered recent. Now, is your arm okay? It was getting my hand was falling asleep. Is it all right now? I feel somewhat better now. Okay, ready to begin. Is your first name William? Yes. Is your middle name Eston? Yes. Do you know who caused Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Were you born in Ohio? Yes. Did you cause Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Do you know anybody by the name of Dorman? No. Do you know anyone by the name of Dawson? No. Do you know anyone by the name of Darby? No. After Steve left, did you go outside your apartment? No. Did you answer the last question truthfully? Yes, wait a minute. I don't know if I did or not, come to think of it, because I might have went out the back door. That's way in the back. Well, there is no question here. There's another thing about that question that is bothering you, and I'm not sure it's a truthful answer, or something is on your mind. That's what I was wondering, if I even went out the back. Why can't you remember? Were you high? No, I wasn't high. What is it? Well, actually, I don't know if I went out the back or not, because I might have let Christopher out. I don't know. When he was barking. But I let him out before, out the back door, so he could go to the bathroom. Well, let's pick up the last bit and continue the exam. You really don't know, huh? I don't know. Let's see. After Steve left, did you walk to see his car, or talk to him, say goodbye, or talk anybody in the house, or go swimming? Or it was he went out, it would be just opening and shutting it to let the dog out. Yes, it couldn't have been that you walked the dog. No, I didn't take the dog for a walk. Okay, look straight ahead. I'm going to add some first names, nicknames, onto those names I've been asking you. Are you 19 years old? Yes. Do you know anyone by the name of Slick Dorman? No. Do you know anyone by the name of Buck Darby? No. Have you ever stolen anything and not been caught? Yes. Have you recently stolen anything and not been caught? No. Have you recently used LSD? How recently would you say? Never mind. Within the last week, have you used LSD? No. While Stephen was at your apartment Friday night, did you smoke marijuana? No. Has your life been threatened? Maybe a few times, I don't know. Do you think you know who caused Polanski's death? Polanski? Polanski's death? No. Did you cause Mrs. Polanski's death? No, my hand is falling asleep. Huh? My hand is going to sleep. When has your life been threatened? Well, I don't think it was a serious threat, but one time. All right, tell me about the one time. It's been old, tell me about it. But it was when I kicked Daryl out that one time. I mean, I just knew him for about 8 years, it's nothing. Tell me what the nothing is. I don't know if you could say my life was actually, he did threaten. What did he say? I forgot exactly what he said. Well, we can beat around the bush all day long here, Bill, and you'll tell me eventually what it was. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't say exactly he threatened my life. What did he say? Well, he felt like beating me up, for one thing. Well, he didn't just leave willingly when you said, now you got to get your ass out. He didn't leave willingly, did he? No, well, I mean, he had his bags packed. He packed his bags and left and everything. But he just said he didn't, I don't know how to say it. Try. Just said he beat me up or something. He said, I'll beat you up or something. I don't know. I figure exactly what he said. It wasn't real. It wasn't, I would say, a threat, actually. Because he had said it before, Well, why did you write him a letter? I told him to come on back. Why? I don't know. I just told him to come and visit. Visit or come and live with you? No, just visit. Why? Because I was lonely. Was he the only one that visited you that kept you from being lonely? Well, I figured if he came, he'd bring Debbie along and his girl. I wanted you to sit here and think for a minute. Looks like there's something you're holding back. Whether it's about Steve or looking in that window or what it is, I don't know. Think about it for a minute, okay? And I'll be back in a jiff. Pause. The last time you went through a chart, well, first of all, what have you been thinking since I left? What's come in your mind? I thought about that. All I think about is what happened. Have you told me the truth? Yes. All of it, yes. Do you think you might have let the dog out after Steve left? Well, he could have got out the back way. Why that way? I don't know. Why don't you know? You were frightened that night. You remember the handle. You remember looking at the bathroom. You remember some details. You remember watching TV, making a TV dinner, talking to Steve. Now, why can't you remember whether or not you went outside? As far as I didn't go outside as far as I know. You did not, but you're not sure. I might have went out back. What does that mean? I don't know. Well, what is out back? Well, out in the backyard. Where would you go if you went out back? That would be north, the far end. It's, a little place. What would you do if you did go out back? Just to let Christopher out? Does that mean you walked out of the yard and looked at the stars and walked back in? It might. And what else might it mean? That's it, just that. Do you think you've been completely truthful with me? Yeah, but I was a little bit shocked. Shocked? Do you say shocked? I mean, not shocked, just a little bit. What's happened? You're shocked at what happened? Yes. I'm asking you about the examination. Do you think you have been completely truthful with me? Yes, I have been completely truthful. Let's go through the last series of questions again. Relax, sit quiet, sit comfortable, just say yes or no. Is your first name William? Yes. Is your middle name Eston? Yes. Do you know who caused Mrs. Polanski's death? No. Page missing. I might have went out the back. Isn't it strange you can't remember something like that? If you were in my place, wouldn't you find that strange? You can't remember that? I wasn't expecting anything. But you were frightened, you said. Yes. And you saw the doorknob hanging down, or the door handle? Yes. And that frightened you? Yes. And you said you weren't about to go outside, right? Yes. And you think you might have? I might have went out back, I don't know. And you might have gone out the front? No. And you could have gone out front, huh? Is it possible? Yes, it's impossible. You couldn't have followed Steve out to his car? No. Why not? Because I didn't. How did you think Steve got caught in all this and you didn't know about it? Do I think he got caught in it? How do you think he got caught out there in all this when you didn't know about it? I don't know. Do you think you might have gone by the picture window and saw something that held his attention for a while? I don't know. You don't know. Did you see anything in that window that held your attention for a while? No. Ever see anything going on there that was a little unusual or weird? No, never? I find that hard to believe. Why? I don't know. I just do. I haven't. There was apparently a lot of strange things going on around there. You're living there and didn't know about it. Didn't see it? Didn't you walk past that house many times? I went by there a few times. The strangest things you ever saw was the woman swimming nude in the pool, huh? Yes. Any difference about the interior of the house? What do you mean? Well, it's just like your mum and pa's house. I don't know. I mean, well, last time when I was in it, I was in March, and it looked regular to me. Regular, just like any other homey little room. Yeah, nothing different to me. What's this? Lieutenant Burdick. To wipe your hands. Come along. Complete. Right, and that's it. Finally. Right, so and so in the final bit there. Sounds like they were trying to see if he'd had the name Pick Dawson before, doesn't it? They said the name Dawson, didn't they? And names that vaguely sounded like Pick to see if he was going to recognise the name Dawson by the looks of things, didn't they? Interesting, yeah. Paul Hart was asking about the letters, what the letters he wrote were, and it does look like the ones that he wrote was to the guy that had lived with him a few months before. That's what he says the letters were, asking him to come back. And also, when he says, "Are you gay? When was the last time you had sex with a man?" he says Thursday. So that's the night that he says the gardener was round. But that was the response he gave. That was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. Strange. Oh, was it good? Do you enjoy that? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. The false memory sounds like he's on, yeah. I think he's probably blacking stuff out as well, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. All that Rosie Tate, all the Rosie Tate stuff, I think that he's trying to make himself look crazy so people will leave him alone and stop interviewing him, basically. That was him, yeah. Because that's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just, you can see from all the crime scene photos, she didn't have the baby, so there's no way that goes anywhere, is it? She's crazy. Yeah, the gardener, the two gardeners who were brothers, and they used to bring their mistresses to the guest house. Yeah, I know what you said. Cool, that's going on for over an hour, this stream now. We've got 90 people, 89. Went down by one when I said that. Right, so I'll end this in a minute, and I'll come back and we'll do a bit of an after show. Why not? Got to plug the computer in. The battery's about to run out. Oh well, and I never plugged the internet in, so hopefully the audio is not going to trip out on that. Oh, I hope that's not messed it up. I wasn't cutting out, was I? Because the internet was crap. I didn't plug it in. I was on Wi-Fi doing that. Sorry, just got to plug my computer in. Right, yeah, and okay, and I probably won't do a stream next week because I'm concentrating on writing the blog, and that's taking up a lot of my time. So yeah, I think there'll be a break from streaming. But yeah, I'm going to take this one up because I need that, and hopefully I'll get a couple of shorts out of this. But yeah, this will be back up tomorrow. Excellent. Right. Yeah, thanks for coming in. Well, I'll talk to you for a bit longer. People still talking in the chat. Right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The Cook was definitely into the sex and drugs. Asking about sex and drugs anyway. And didn't ask him about the stereo, and now they had his music voice. Yeah, I think it comes out. He was listening to the Numbers and the Puppies and the Doors. Mama Cass. It was Mama Cass's album. Yeah. Yeah, be sure to look at the blog. Like I said earlier, there's more posts on it there. There's the links to the subreddit and everything on there. Yeah. He does talk about Rudy Altobelli a bit, how he met Rudy Altobelli. He just says he met Rudy Altobelli in Hollywood, and he was staying there already. And while he was staying there, he said he was going to go to Europe, and he invited him to stay. Yeah, but yeah, he's definitely denying any sort of gay prostitution claims in that. I think. Yeah. And the more I've heard about him, the way he talks and that, I don't think that he was. If anything, I think it sounds like Stephen Parent might have been trying to case the place. Maybe he was going to attempt to burgle the place. And he was wandering around out the back, and Linda Kasabian found him when they were wandering around. And that's how he got stabbed in the hand and ran to his car and all this sort of stuff. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think now that Garretson was involved, but Stephen Parent was possibly trying to case up the case. That's it. He is the biggest mystery, yeah. And it goes nowhere, doesn't it? But I finally managed to find his polygraph test. You hear a couple of things there. Mainly the thing about the nude woman swimming in the pool. And he does admit that he had some kind of gay experience. And he seems to be holding back for a lot of stuff about the gay stuff, doesn't he? Weird. Yeah, there will be an after show as well. In fact, yeah, I'm going to get up and stretch my legs. So give me 10 minutes and I'll make a cup of tea. But yeah, give me about 10 minutes and I'll do an after show. Thanks for coming, everyone. That was a really big audience. Yeah, like I say, check out the blog. You'll love it. Everyone, and I'll see you at the after.